No, IVF is not your only option. The complete guide to successfully heal your fallopian tubes. The Fallopian Tube Formula. Written by Jody Shabazz. Audio by Jody Shabazz. Your body can heal itself. The human body is an amazing creation that possesses an enormous, extraordinary, and persistent capacity to heal itself. In fact, homeostasis, a balance of wellness and ease, is the natural state of the body, and it is constantly attempting to achieve this balance of complete wellness and ease. Disease, dis-ease, occurs when we abuse our bodies or deprive them of necessary elements to keep us healthy over extended periods. There is not a drug, radiation, surgery, or any doctor that can heal anyone of anything. Why is this? Because it is the human body that has this innate ability to heal. All man can do is bring about the proper conditions within the body, which will help the body do naturally what it was designed by God to do, which is what? Heal itself. Think about when a bone is broken in the body. A doctor can set the bones back in alignment, but that is as far as he can go. Ultimately, it is the body that knits the bones back together, and it is the same thing with the laceration. The doctor can physically close the wound, but only the body has the power to mend the skin back together. It is the same thing when dealing with a life-threatening disease. If we want to heal from a life-threatening disease, such as cancer, once again, it is only the body that has the power to heal. All a doctor can do is either help or hinder the body in its healing attempt. Just consider the human cell and its amazing ability to renew itself. The most fundamental element of the human body is the cell. All human life begins as one single cell, which then divides into many cells until finally a baby is born after approximately 9 months of cell division inside its mother's uterus. Every second of our lives, our cells are relentlessly working to bring us back to our natural state of homeostasis or balance. When we use natural medicine or physical manipulations of our body's systems to heal us, we are actually only promoting our body's natural ability to heal from within. Each cell is a dynamic, living unit that is continuously monitoring and adjusting its own processes, continually working to renew itself to the original DNA code that it was created with and to maintain the body's balance. Cells have the unique ability to heal themselves as well as make new cells to replace those that may have been permanently damaged or destroyed. Remarkably, even when a large number of cells are destroyed, the neighboring cells replicate to make new cells, quickly replacing the cells that were destroyed. Many people tend to think that the cells inside the fallopian tubes cannot be repaired once they are damaged. This simply is not the case. Once the scar tissue is dissolved and swept away using the healing techniques in this book, new cells replace the damaged cells. Again, this is the natural inclination of the intelligent body. It sees an area that needs repair and it repairs it with new healthy cells back to its natural state of wellness. Imagine a bleeding injury occurring anywhere in our bodies. Blood vessels at the site will contract and slow the bleeding. Then, blood platelets begin forming a blood clot at the site of the injury. Next, white blood cells accumulate at the spot and secrete special enzymes called lysosomes, which destroy and digest dead cells and space is made for new cells to occupy. Nearly simultaneously, the process of new cell formation begins. These new cells derive mostly from the newer layers of cells of the particular tissue, while older cells are then forced to the site of the injury to fill the space that was made by the injury. This complex process automatically stops once the healing is complete. This remarkable healing process is not just for injuries. It also pertains to normal everyday wear and tear. Damaged, destroyed, or dead cells are replaced in great numbers daily from our skin, mouth, intestines, and blood. So you see, the human body is amazing. There is really and truly no such thing as impossible. Let's change that to I'm possible, meaning I am possible. I am able. I am ready. I am armed. I will do what's necessary to succeed. Now, that's not to say that every single woman who reads this book will heal herself. Of course, I could never promise that. I wish I could, but I can't. But with the tools and knowledge I give you in this book, you will have the power in your hands to take charge of your own healing. Chapter by chapter, you will be shown what you need to do to take control and have the best chance possible to heal yourself. Nobody said this would be easy, but I can promise you that it will be worth it. How empowering. So, let's get to it. How long it can take to heal yourself. Whenever I hear this statement, how long will it take to heal myself? It's often spoken with a sense of fear and anxiety. Many people begin incorporating a better diet and lifestyle and then erroneously expect healing to happen very quickly, as in overnight. And when it doesn't happen as fast as they want it to, they get stressed out. And guess what? Stress is one of the leading causes of disease. We'll discuss that a bit later. Most people forget or don't realize that healing takes time. Sadly, the unnatural pace we've created in modern society does not allow the proper time for healing. We want everything to be resolved yesterday. When I seriously buckled down and started taking significant steps toward healing of my fallopian tubes, it was October of 2014. It took 2 full years for my fallopian tubes to heal. All the while, I watched many women in my social media group heal their tubes in 6 months or less. But I realized that some people's conditions heal more quickly and others just need more time. Every body is different and heals at its own pace. I also made some mistakes along the way that cost me a lot of time, and I will be discussing these mistakes with you a bit later in the chapter 2 Phases of the Fallopian Tube Formula, where I lay out a comprehensive plan of attack to heal your tubes in the shortest amount of time possible. Remember, this concept of healing the fallopian tubes is very new, even in the natural medicine world, and unheard of and deemed impossible in Western medicine. But my aim is to change all of that. As I've stated, I was my own guinea pig and went through a lot of trial and error. But with this formula I've created and laid out, I believe healing time can now possibly be cut in half. Once we take on the self-healing process and change our diet, lifestyle, consciousness, and begin supplementation and healing practices, we need to trust that our body is doing precisely what it needs to do at the exact speed it can do it. Your lack of faith in the ability of the human body to self-heal can actually impede the natural flow of healing. That means stop worrying. I know it's easier said than done, but your worrying causes stress, which slows down your healing and even suppresses your immune system. I always encourage my clients to begin trusting themselves in their instincts, but sadly, this has become difficult for some. They have been conditioned to push away their intuition and instead listen to the propaganda created by the medical and pharmaceutical industries, who prefer to just address symptoms and bypass the actual root of disease. The fear factor takes hold of them and they don't know how to relax and just go with the flow. They become anxious and wonder if all of this is really worth it. I know. I've had those thoughts. I've been there. Trust me, this journey has forced patience on me. Some of you may be thinking in the back of your mind, why not just go straight for IVF? Well, for a few reasons. If you have hydrosalpinx like I did, they will want to remove your tubes before proceeding with IVF because they say that the fluid in the tubes is toxic to the embryo and can cause miscarriage. If they remove your tubes, your only hope of becoming a mother will be solely in their hands for the rest of your life. That was a deal breaker for me. That's the stubbornness in me, and thankfully so. I thought, there has to be another way. Besides that, as I mentioned before, IVF is extremely expensive. There are a few places in the U.S. that have pretty reasonable rates, and I will talk about that later in the chapter, IVF as a last resort, not your only option. Also, the success rate for IVF is a little too low for me to put all of my bank savings down. According to resolve.org, quote, the majority of women have per cycle success rates of 20 to 35%. Not to mention the cost of medications and travel, the risk of complications from those medications now and further down the line. Now that is not worth it to me. However, if you have tried everything in your power to heal yourself naturally and you are unsuccessful in that, I would say sure, go for IVF. Again, this is a personal decision and I hold no judgments. But I digress. Back to the subject at hand. A few years ago, I read a book called Healing Ourselves by Nobuo Muramoto. It had an astonishing effect on my thoughts and beliefs about healing. The book was based on ancient healing techniques in Japanese medicine. Muramoto writes, according to biologists, it takes 120 days for the red blood globules to change completely. This means there is a 10% difference in the quality of blood within 10 to 12 days. Which is the time it takes for the symptoms of an existing disease to disappear. In other words, although it takes 120 days for the blood to become clean, 12 days of proper eating, no chemicalized industrial food, no overeating or excess drinking, are sufficient to remove the symptoms and, in most cases, put us out of danger. It takes approximately 3 years to reconstruct the muscle fibers. The same applies to certain organs, but it takes 7 years to change the entire bodily constitution, unquote. Having that ancient knowledge in mind, we must understand that healing does take time. Symptoms may begin improving within the first 12 days, but healing the entire bodily system may take up to 7 years. The healing of my fallopian tubes took just over 2 years, but 2 significant obstacles were going against me. One, I didn't know all that I know now and wasn't as consistent with some of these treatments due to this ignorance, and I didn't have a comprehensive plan like you do now in this book. And 2, I also had one of the most severe cases of blocked fallopian tubes, bilateral hydrosalpinx with a lot of scar tissue. And I had this condition for 20 years. But in all of this, we've learned something. With a focused, comprehensive plan and consistency with that plan, we can significantly reduce healing time. We also know that we can heal even the worst cases of blocked fallopian tubes. So rest assured, yours may take only a few months up to a year, especially if you are consistent and diligently follow this comprehensive formula. Even if you also have hydrosalpinx, the quote-unquote incurable, untreatable, you can heal yourself. It's your unique body and your personal journey. If we are dealing with a diseased state, we need to understand that it surely did not develop overnight. No one goes to sleep at night and wakes up the next morning with infertility, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, or any other debilitating condition. Disease takes time to develop, and in reverse, it takes time to heal. Through diet, lifestyle, supplementation, healing practices, and consciousness, we can create the environment for our cells to manifest health. In Bruce Lipton's book, Biology of Belief, he provides scientific research about genes or heredity. He says that our environment determines whether or not our genes will express themselves. Our cells and blood, our internal environment, are created by our food choices, the air we breathe, physical environment, and our emotions, including what we think, how we behave, and what we believe. Our internal environment changes as we change. It's not difficult, but this simple thinking goes against everything we've been taught about disease. Many people believe that disease is just something that's inevitable, especially if we have the genes for it. However, I have a different perspective because I've experienced both diseased and disease-free, and I now know where and how healing takes place. I encourage you to have a little faith in your body. Take the best possible care of your body and mind. Eat high-quality food. Give your body the supplements and nutrients it needs. Incorporate healing practices. Think positive thoughts. De-stress and relax. Give your body the elements and tools it needs to create the best environment for healing. And then let go of the details and rigid time frame in your mind about when it's supposed to happen. And just trust that your body knows exactly how to heal itself and will do so in the quickest time frame that it physically can. We can't possibly know for sure how long it takes to heal a particular condition. Just know that it will take as long as it needs to take. The father of medicine, Hippocrates, said, "Healing is a matter of time, but is sometimes also a matter of opportunity." I encourage you to seize this opportunity to give yourself the time you need to heal. Embrace the journey and know that you are doing a great service for your body, your health, and your future. And remember to be patient. Now let's discuss natural healing and how it all works.